quickly before the Freeze Mage can freeze the board continuously for 3 or 4 turns at a time, clear with Frost Nova Doomsayer. So, but Handsomeguy does actually have a really nice start here. Caster, however, picked up the draw that he needs to draw into those board clears, draw into that freeze. So, yeah it's anybody's game.
Honestly, like I do like Handsomeguys' hand, but I really like Caster's hand. It's a way to contest the board early on, and funny enough, against Handsomeguys' minions that are a lot of 1/1s, a 1/3 in the Voidwalker, the Novice Engineer, the Acolyte of Pain, the Loot Hoarder actually are going to do pretty well, I think. So, Handsomeguy, would you start off with the Voidwalker and the Argent Squire, or would you go with the Voidwalker and the Possessed Villager?
It's tough to say. Both the Possessed Villager and the Argent Squire are sticky minions that are almost guaranteed to be there the next turn.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's going to go with the Argent Squire instead. Yeah, it does pretty much the same thing as the Possessed Villager. You're guaranteed the 1/1 body at least on the next turn. Caster has the Novice Engineer, which challenges the Divine Shield, but the Voidwalker, of course, cleans that up really easily. And the Loot Hoarder also gets taken out really easily here, but he does get the card off the Death Rattle, so it's not entirely a loss.
Yeah, I mean, Handsomeguy kind of needs to draw into a little bit more power here. And the Soulfire, yeah, it's a good amount of damage, but it's not going to really buff the board. It's not something you really use before the very end. So I'm a little bit nervous about Handsomeguys' state right now.
But you know what? I love the play that he just made. Handsomeguy knows exactly what his win condition is in this game. The Zulok has to go face. The Zulok has to win quickly. So instead of making a favorable trade against the Loot Hoarder, which would have, kept him in a favorable board state, he said, I'm going face. I'm just going to go ahead and deal 2 damage to face, because that 2 damage could be the choice between a win or a loss in the end.
Oh boy. And, I can see the Soulfire against the Acolyte of Pain. I mean, he does lose a Possessed Villager, but he keeps the Forbidden Rituals. He's still got the Power Overwhelming, which is probably the most important card in that hand. And you want to deny the draw as much as you can, but, no matter what he does, Caster's going to be getting a lot of draw early on here, too. And he's got the Emperor Thorazin, so maybe able to draw into a good Thorazin as well, too. A lot of stuff to discount.
Almost more importantly, though, we see Caster has picked up the 2 Frost Novas in his hand, as well as an Ice Block. Now, because the Freeze Mage doesn't have Mad Scientist anymore, they still run the 2 Ice Blocks. You see 1 or 2 Ice Barriers, but there's no immediate way to get them placed onto the board. So it is very important that he did draw 1 ahead of time so that he can have it set up for when the Zulok is going to push for potential lethal. But these Frost Novas are going to delay Handsomeguy so much later on in the game. If Caster can pick up a Doomsayer, then it's going to be really hard for Handsomeguy to push back on board, especially with the hand he's got right now. Forbidden Ritual gives you a bunch of 1/1s, gives you a very strong board, but easily wiped by Caster's Blizzard, by Flame Strike, or just, solidly frozen by the Frost Nova. And then the Power Overwhelming, it's nice, but you don't want to play it too early on.
That's a good draw for Handsomeguy,
That's a great draw. Handsomeguy hoping that one of the knives will hit the 1/1. Decides to go with the Forbidden Ritual, though. And I kind of like this. It's still too early for Blizzard. So he figures, let's get 4 damage down on the board now, hopefully before it can be cleared.
Yep. And he needs to get as much damage as he can done. And I mean, it's kind of scary when all you have are just a bunch of guys that do like 1 damage. So this Knife Juggler turn is actually pretty big for Handsomeguy. But Caster's got all the tools he needs, right? I mean, he's even got the Alex Strasza to bring himself back up to 15 if he needs to in the late game. Or if things are going pretty well, get Handsomeguy a little bit lower. So I'm feeling it for Caster. I know it's against my prediction, but right now,
it's only game 1. It's only game 1.
Could turn around. Well, I'm feeling this game for Caster.
Yes.
I'm still feeling the series for Handsomeguy.
You got a larger chalkboard to write his whole name on there. You better be feeling Handsomeguy as the winner. But
that's right.
You know what? I wouldn't count out Caster, especially he's got the Arcane Intellect. He picked up the other Acolyte of Pain.
Sure.
And the double Frost Nova. We don't see a Doomsayer yet, though. Or a Blizzard or a Flame Strike. So he chooses to Ice Block this turn. I guess he's pretty scared. And well, setting up for some board clears by paying off that Divine Shield.
Oh, wow. Okay, so there's Gormak the Impaler, and Handsomeguy actually has room to play it if he wants to. And it's an interesting thought, because he's going into a turn 6, right, where Caster could Blizzard. This might be the only opportunity that Handsomeguy has to actually do this, Gormak, and it also survives Blizzard, too. So I feel like even though the Defender of Argus is kind of tempting, this might be the time to go for the Gormak.
And you know what? He's got 5 mana. I think there might even be some merit to playing the Power Overwhelming. You still can. You want that 4 damage. Might as well put it out now when you have an extra mana before your board is permanently frozen. We do see Handsomeguy has Leroy Jenkins in his list. So were he to draw that, he would have something to play the Power Overwhelming on. But yeah, he's going to go ahead and play it now.
Yeah, I think you might as well go for it. How much damage is this? Let's see, 4, 9, 10 plus, so 15 damage overall, I believe. Yeah, 15 damage overall, so that's going to do a lot in terms of getting Caster down to the range where something like Leroy could actually pop that ice block.
Absolutely. Caster down to 4 health on turn 6, picks up the Blizzard. That he could have Frost Nova, so he had ways to stall for a couple of more turns, but that Blizzard really, really important here. Going to kill off everything except for that Gormok.
Well, this is better than stalling, right? You get to clear most of the board, so yeah, Caster drawing right into what he needs, but it looks like he may just go for the Frost Nova anyway. This isn't really a bad play. I mean, it does get you the opportunity to draw into more removal, into more of your direct damage too, because again, that's something we haven't talked about yet, that Caster right now has basically 0, aside from that Ice Lance, of the damage cards he needs to kind of end the game.
Absolutely. He decided, you know, going to play the Acolyte of Pain and hopefully get 2 or 3 draws off of it.
Speaking of good draws.
Yeah, speaking of good draws, Handsomeguy picks up the Sea Giant, which would be a great draw under normal circumstances, but here it's kind of an 8/8 body that you're probably not going to be able to attack with over the next couple of turns. And that Knife Juggler working against Handsomeguy here.
The Acolyte of Pain likes that. He likes being hit by the knives. I mean, that's kind of weird.
Caster picks up 2 Doomsayers off the top. And he's going to be able to combo those with both the Frost Nova and the Blizzard if he wants to.
Yeah.
And we can't ignore he's got the Emperor Thaurissan in hand. Likely going to want to draw for more cards to get some of the burn to reduce with the Emperor. But yeah, getting that removal is really, really important for Caster here.
You know, the funny thing to think about is that Handsomeguy, remember when he used that Soulfire against the Acolyte of Pain a little bit earlier? And now his opponent has 4 health left. I'm not saying it was a wrong choice then, but I am saying he may want that damage back. There's Leroy, though, but he can't do anything. He can't play Leroy because his board is full.
You really want to avoid filling your board up against a Freeze Mage as a Zoo. Yeah, especially when you have charge minions like that in your deck. Leroy wasn't in his hand at the time, but you kind of have to think the Sea Giant is not going to do much.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, it gives Caster a pretty clean turn to play Emperor Thaurissan. Still not the best hand to reduce, but he does pick up the Forgotten Torch. So that's not bad. Always nice to have a reduction on Alexstrasza.
Certainly is. Now, the Ice Block looks like it's probably going to get popped here by Handsomeguys Leroy Jenkins.
And Caster does not have a second block to follow it up.
Yeah. Now, the tricky thing here is, do you go for something like Leroy and Imp Gang Boss because you're hoping that at least you might get an Imp or 2 off of it to pair with the Abusive Sergeant to finish things again? You may actually wait for the Leroy and try to get a little bit of damage done early, because it's easier for him to do 3 damage than something like 4 after the Ice Block is popped.
It would be easier to go ahead and pop the block with the board that you create with the Imp King Boss, the Defender of Argus, and then go ahead and either pop the second block or deal the last 1 damage with the Leroy Jenkins.
Unfortunately, for Handsomeguy.
It's not gonna work out too well. This is sort of the way the Freeze Mage versus Zoom matchup tends to go.
Oh yeah.
Unless the Freeze Mage draws really, really poorly, which Caster he drew the card draw he needed and went right into the freeze, and now is drawing the damage as we're seeing come into his hand. A second reduction with Emperor. That is incredible value.
I mean, really, the hope for Handsomeguy here now. I suppose the Knife Juggler hits could certainly make a big difference as well, but he's going to need to really draw into his what? Mad Scientist? No, that's not right.
Dark Peddler?
He's on gone. No, the that one.
Crazed Alchemist.
Crazed Alchemist. Why did that escape my mind? I don't know.
Yes, Handsomeguy does actually have a Crazed Alchemist teched into his Zulak, most likely for matchups like this, for Control Warrior that occasionally plays the Doomsayer. Unfortunately, just hasn't drawn it yet, and I'm assuming he would have hard mulligan for it, but you know, when you only have a 1-of copy of a card, it just doesn't work out the way you want to all the time. So
this could pop the Ice Block right here. Now it can't, but
only if all 4 went face.
Yeah.
But you know what? Just as good, kills off the Emperor.
Yeah.
It's still better than going 3 to face and 1 to the Emperor. That would be bad.
That's a lot of damage though coming in from Caster. He may just have it right here with that Thalnos. I didn't do the math yet, but
4, 8, 12.
Looking pretty grim.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's it.
There's another 8 from the Ice Lances.
Yep.
Yeah,
all right,
Caster not even needing the Alexstrasza, just able to pick up some of that burn right off the top of his deck, putting together some freeze and a couple of Ice Lances, and